Hi everybody and welcome to a pre-record of our first webinar as part of Supported Partnerships. Now if you couldn't attend our first session on the 30th of September or if you had some network challenges, you can watch this video and catch up with everything that you've missed. So this is a good chance for me to practice the webinar and get my timings spot on. So just a quick overview of our selected sessions. So our first one today is about investigating how to form an international partnership. And then our next session on October the 7th will be about creating a collaborative project. And our last session will be looking at taking action together for the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular climate action, which is number 13. Today's session will include an overview, introductions to us all. There should be 10 of us attending. We will look at together what is global learning, what is an international partnership, and what are the Sustainable Development Goals, and what we can do next to get ready for our next webinar and start to build up that partnership. So our overview is basically we want to support you as representatives of the British Council to come together and work together on a theme in a supported way. So our chosen theme is SDG 13 and in particular COP26, which is happening in November, where it's the conference of the parties where they come together in Glasgow to discuss and make political agreements and changes for climate change. We'll talk more about that in the next webinar, but that is our chosen theme for this supported partnership. And as you know, it will be delivered in 1 hour webinars by myself. So I am Sharon Flint and I'm a global learning practitioner and local advisor for the Connecting Classrooms project. Now I also work for an NGO as an education officer. And I am a secondary school, high school teacher. Now, I'm not teaching anymore, but I used to be the head of the art department. And then I took some time out and I lived in Lesotho for 6 months and worked in schools there. And then I couldn't quite go back to teaching. So the NGO I work with is linked to Lesotho and I work with teachers in Wales and Lesotho. Okay, so with my help, advice and guidance, these webinars will hopefully provide you with good foundation for your partnership. It will give you an introduction to some continued professional development and help advise you on how to move forward together. And when we finish in November, I will write a short report based on all your feedback. Okay, I think we should start with a very important video. We are lucky to be doing this work now, just as we are in a really important couple of months in relation to the United Nations work. So, as you probably know, last week was the General Assembly in New York, and the Global Goals Week was a promotion of all things SDG related, and all the links are on our Padlet, where there's a whole host of resources and videos that you can access. But I just wanted to share this one from you, from the new President of the General Assembly.
It is time that we stand up and give hope. We have seen humanity at its best. We have seen that in the great sacrifices of the frontline workers. We have seen the doctors, the nurses, the many ordinary individuals who have put their lives in harm's way to help others. That is hope. We have seen a vaccine developed in record time. That is hope. For the United Nations to come together on a presidency of hope and begin the recovery is what is required now. I intend to convene a special event to give countries the opportunity to come together and give that final political commitment. Yes, we are committed to the 1.5 degrees. Yes, we care about humanity. In the Maldives, where I come from, we live day in, day out with the threat of climate change. But we will never give up hope. Humanity will rise to the occasion, that we will survive. I pledge that I will not sit in any panel that is not gender balanced. I intend to make sure that the issue of gender continues to be one of my top priorities throughout my presidency. Multilateralism is the only way forward. I want to give that opportunity for young diplomats from underrepresented countries. And that is why I have launched a President of the General Assembly Youth Fellowship Program. Give them the opportunity to work with my office so that they will be able to experience what happens here. The best investment in multilateralism is investing in young people. The General Assembly is the only body which has the 193 countries represented. And this body, when it speaks unanimously, when it decides on matters, that is the international conscience. It is the one opportunity where you can make a difference. And one opportunity where a small country like the Maldives can make a difference. The legacy of the Maldivian presidency, the presidency of hope, I hope will be there for a long period of time.
I think that was really important to share with you. I think it sums up where we all need to be right now, and we are actually here present together as a group of schools across the world working together to bring action on climate change, to readdress and balance gender equality, inspire our students with hope and give them an international conscience. And that pretty much sums up my passion in life. So I wanted to share that because I think it's really, really important. You could share that with your learners if you have the chance to. Okay, now it's important that we introduce each other and ourselves. I've told you a little bit about me. So I'm going to ask you around the screen to say hi, tell us where you're from and what you teach or what's your role in the school. I know some of you have already done that in the WhatsApp group, but I think we all might need a reminder of who is who. Obviously this pre-record, that's not going to happen, but hopefully you can go back to the Padlet and check who is everybody. But we should have Owen and Rahima from their partner schools, Myrion and Barbara, Amy and Jamira, and Harrod and Arias, Tom and Helen, and Robert and David. The names of all the schools are on the Padlet account as well. Now the platforms we're going to use are really, really important. So part of the live webinar will be us just getting to know the platforms, how to navigate Zoom on the phone or the laptop whilst we're using another platform as well. So some of you might need to use WhatsApp during the call, and hopefully all of us have seen the Padlet. If not, check it out now, please. Have a little look how to add a post, because it will be a collaborative space for all of us in between our webinars. And there is a task on there from Mentimeter. So if you click on that link, which is under the webinar 1 column, it gives you a little getting to know you activity. There's also a Google form link, which will be after the webinar to fill in as a little reflection. Okay, so the big reason we're here together is what is global learning? And there are many different definitions of this according to different policies, different curriculums, different approaches. Now, from the British Council, I've just pulled out one summary, which is issues like climate change, gender equality, and how to live sustainably affect us all and connect us all wherever we are in the world. Teaching pupils about these issues is what we call global learning. It will help you equip your pupils with the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to act more thoughtfully, ethically, and responsibly as citizens and contributors to society. So just unmute if you can and tell me how this sits in your curriculum. What name is it given? Where does it sit? Is it part of a subject? Is it cross-curricular? I know the answers in Wales, but at this point I would like everybody to contribute. There are different examples here about different ways in which it could be referred to, but I want to hear from you. Okay. When we've done that, the next activity for everybody to do is a little bit of drawing. So I've asked you to bring pen and paper. I want you to draw your best little person, and I want you to think about what that knowledge, skills and attitudes are. What is a global citizen? Think about your learner in your context and what knowledge, skills and attitudes do you think they need to have to be a global citizen. So please draw that on your little figure, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Obviously, if you're listening to this and it's not live, please still do the activity and add it to the Padlet. Okay, many thanks for that. We've had some really good responses. Now, looking at developing these global citizens, what better way is it to connect together? And yes, we're teacher to teacher at this point, but hopefully this will give you lots of tools and ideas to work with your students, and then you can start sharing between your students as well. Now, even though, as you can see, this quote really highlights the importance of international partnerships. It's simple but important. It can be an unforgettable experience which affects your personal life and your development as a teacher. But it does come with challenges as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to allocate some of you to think about these questions and make a note in the chat if you can. So I would like Owen, Rahima, Amy, Jamira, Tom and Helen to look at the benefits, Marian and Barbara, and Harrod and Arius, Robert and David to look at the challenges. I'm going to give you a few minutes there to reflect and write in the chat. Again, if you were watching this because you fell out of the meeting or you couldn't attend, again, please make a note and you can add it to the Padlet. Okay, just in summary, based on what I'm thinking a lot of people will have said, that some of the benefits are broadening horizons, encouraging a global outlook, enriching the curriculum, boosting engagement, and developing pupils as responsible citizens. The difficulties are unequal access to technology can be a real challenge. Unequal access to other resources to provide opportunities for pupils can be a challenge. And we can't ignore the elephant in the room that often doesn't get discussed, but we need to acknowledge that some partnerships can be very unequal by the nature of power and privilege. Now, this isn't the platform for us to talk in great depth about this, sadly, but we want to live in a post-colonial, anti-racist world, and we have to acknowledge the causes of poverty, and what we are faced with are often very unequal attitudes and assumptions that can come when you bring schools and teachers and pupils together from different parts of the world in the global north and the global south. So that needs to be acknowledged. That is a tricky journey to navigate, but something that in an international partnership you can do together, which is really, really exciting. I will point you to more resources on that at a later date. So one of the links I've also put in the Padlet is a document from the British Council, which gives you different ideas of ways in which you can communicate. Now, I'm modelling lots of different ways here and lots of different platforms that you can use, teacher to teacher or student to student. But please take a little look at this PDF and talk in your partnership what is going to be best for you, what platform is going to be best for you, because we really do encourage you between each webinar to build up your getting to know each other and then deciding on the most equitable way forward for you to move together with your project. Okay, the last two bits of the webinar are focused on the SDGs. The Sustainable Development Goals. Now, we've talked a little bit about the UN and the General Assembly, but this quote infographic I found last year working on another project, and I just think it's a really, really good way to show how interchangeable and interconnected the goals are. So just quietly read this statement and hopefully you can get an idea of how important all these interconnected elements are. Imagine a world where there's no poverty and zero hunger, where we have good health and well-being, quality education and full gender equality everywhere. There is clean water and sanitation for everyone. Affordable and clean energy has helped to create decent work and economic growth. Our prosperity is fueled by investments in industry, innovation and infrastructure, and that has helped us to reduce inequalities. We live in sustainable cities and communities, and responsible consumption and production is healing our planet. Climate action has capped the warming of the planet, and we have flourishing life below water and abundant, diverse life on land. We enjoy peace and justice through strong institutions, and we have done this through the Partnership for the Goals. Hopeful, ambitious, absolutely necessary. As you know, we've already mentioned, the progress is happening, the parties are convening, countries and youth in particular are being activated for this. Now, one of the videos that came out of Global Goals Week is an update on progress, how we can measure, how we can look at how these indicators are being achieved. So I just want to play this little video for you.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that there isn't progress, that great things don't get done, that making the world better is impossible. There are amazing things happening around the world every day. And just look at what has been achieved. More than 1 billion people have been lifted out of poverty since 1990. More children than ever now live to see their 5th birthday. Polio is on the brink of eradication. COVID vaccines were developed in record time. More women are in positions of power. Renewable energy is becoming cheaper than fossil fuels. 90% of the world's population now has access to electricity. But there is still so much needed to get the to-do list for people and the planet done.
You need to be determined to face the risks, determined to face the challenges and to change, and to do what is necessary to overcome our dramatic problems.
With your passion and determination, we can go faster, get stronger, and do better, for fairer progress for everyone.
Okay, so what we also have, many of you would have heard about the Millennium Development Goals, and so these have been developed from those pledges in 2000 that were only designed to be worked upon until 2015, until review, and that's when the General Assembly came up with the new 17 goals. But we're nearly into 2022, so we've only got 7 years left. Each SDG is broken down into a set of indicators, and you can find all of that information on the links in the Padlet. But what I've also put in the Padlet, which I think is of interest in reading, or at least having a scan before our next session, is to see how your countries are progressing. So there are voluntary reviews and UN websites for all countries that talk about the priorities. And I think that is something that would be really good to share on this platform or in between the webinars. If anyone has any knowledge on that now, you could share that. If not, that could be a little bit of homework for us by next time. Now, another little bit of homework for us next time is an activity to do with our students. So the British Council have put this resource together called Getting to Know You. And it's just a very simple challenge to get your students sharing materials. So it's designed to be an introduction and to look at similarities and differences in your schools and communities. So the task is for you to set your students in whatever means, using paper and pen, using digital technology, video, audio, whatever you like, to illustrate daily life and what teaching and learning is like in your school. And then think about how you can share that. Is it going to be on WhatsApp? Could it be on Padlet? Could you do it live through a Zoom session? Could you make a little film? Think as creatively as possible, where you can upload your skills, upskill yourself and your students. It doesn't have to be a whole class. I would say for this project only have a pupil group to work with, just to try out some strategies yourself as well. So that's your homework. And also I will share the link in the chat. There is a very, very short survey that I'd like you to fill in pretty much straight away, just to reflect on today's webinar. So that is it. That is our hour on the pre-record. That has taken 22 minutes, so that should be good with relation to activity. If you did miss the webinar, please contact me and let me know if there's anything I can do to support you, so that you can access the next one. And if you've got any questions from this recording, please do let me know so I can set you in touch with your partner and you can get started on your homework together. Okay, thank you very much. Take care and stay safe.